Assemblymember Anthony Portantino is a Democrat from the La Cañada Flint Ridge area who did not vote for the budget.
Correct.
Why is that?
Well, I felt very strongly that once the negotiations broke down with the Republicans, that it was incumbent upon us to take a breath and really craft something that reflected our values. Now, I totally understand with the laudable goal of trying to have a budget on time. So I don't begrudge those who wanted to get the budget done and who have been frustrated by the lack of fruitful negotiations. That's a goal. I just happen to have a little bit different of a goal, which was let's make sure that we're doing the right thing for the San Gabriel Valley, for the district that I represent, and look at it through that prism.
So it was a bad budget?
I did not support it and didn't agree with it.
Was it rushed out because they wanted to get paid? Because Prop 25 said if you're late by 1 day, we dock your pay?
I don't think that's the case. I think it was the idea of the voters giving the legislature the ability to pass a budget on majority vote and then not doing that in a timely manner. I think that was more of the impetus. We've got the ability to do it. There's a constitutional deadline. We should meet that deadline. I think that's a laudable goal of my colleagues. Philosophically, on the context of the budget that was proposed, that's where I disagreed with them.
Were you surprised with the governor's veto then?
No, I was not surprised at all. I think Governor Brown has said from the beginning, you know, there has been a lack of leadership in the chief executive's office. I think we've seen now how terrible a Governor Schwarzenegger was. And I think Governor Brown has said, you know what, I'm going to be a chief executive. I'm going to have a vision of the state of California. I'm going to put my stamp on it. These are the promises that I've made as a candidate, and I think that's also refreshing, a politician who wants to keep their promises, and I think he's going to put his stamp on things.
The GOP says that last week, numbers were released where it appeared that employers in California for the month of May we lost 29,000 jobs. Unemployment rate dipped, but in an artificial fashion. The recovery has stalled. They say this is the last time you want to extend tax hikes.
Well, I think part of the problem with the budget, and one of the reasons why I didn't support it, was the economic development piece, which is the job piece. You know, by not having redevelopment agencies in there, which are creating jobs.
And let's point that out. This budget pretty much gutted redevelopment agencies in cities around the state.
Absolutely. And again, you look at the San Gabriel Valley and you look at the importance of redevelopment in the San Gabriel Valley. That's where jobs are coming from. You know, if the governor or the legislature or anyone wants to propose an economic jobs package, I'm for looking at that. But the absent of that, how do we do away with the redevelopment agencies? Just look at the San Gabriel Valley. Monrovia wants to do a maintenance yard for the gold line construction in their redevelopment area. If we don't have the maintenance yard, how are we going to connect the gold line all the way to Ontario? That's $2 billion of jobs that could be jeopardized by doing away with redevelopment. The small cities in the San Gabriel Valley, we all read about the 10 big mayors that were trying to cut their own side deal on redevelopment. But what about the small cities in the San Gabriel Valley that depend on this for affordable housing, for part of their law enforcement, for the economic development? That's important to the San Gabriel Valley, and I wasn't going to do away with that.
And that's a minority view in the majority party, by the way, because most of your colleagues on the Democratic side said, listen, we like redevelopment agencies, but I'm sorry, they don't match to public safety and to health care and those other issues that are higher priority.
Well, the people who elected me didn't send me there to go lockstep. They sent me there to do what I think is right, and I think the people of the San Gabriel Valley agree with me.
You got upset with a colleague of yours, a Republican colleague from Irvine, who made reference to The Sopranos and comparing a piece of legislation. You said that that was an affront to Italian Americans. Was it the heat of the battle that made you say that, or did you really think that he had offended?
Well, I'm a proud Italian American, and you know, think back to my grandparents who came to this country for a better opportunity. My grandmother, who, you know, worked in a Catholic hospital fixing sheets and sweeping floors and worked hard. My father, who was the first in my family to go to college on the GI Bill of Rights after he fought in World War II. And to have the Sopranos reference made twice about something in the budget that a person didn't like, I wanted to rise and just say, you know what, that was an unnecessary comment. The gentleman's actually a friend of mine. I don't have a personal problem with him, but you know, when you're arguing a point on legislation, it was an unnecessary reference, and so I asked him to make an apology, and unfortunately it escalated. And you know, I sort of look at myself as the de facto chair of the Italian caucus. We're going to be celebrating Italian heritage in California again, and and I needed to just speak on that issue.
Let me ask you a last question. Their reapportionment has taken place, or it's in the process. You're thinking about running for Congress. It looks like you're running for David Dreyer's seat. That is a Latino district, and it looks like at this point. What makes you believe that you'll be the next congressman from that district?
Well, first of all, it is the David Dreyer district, and it's now skewing towards the Democratic side of registration. My belief is what I believe in myself. I think if you work hard, you care about the issues you care about, people are going to vote for you or not vote for you based on the passion you bring to the table. And I don't care where you're from, who you are, if you care about public education, jobs and opportunity and a better life for somebody. Again, as I said, my own personal family story is that story, and I'm going to make the case, and hopefully at the end of the day, people see that I'm passionate and committed.
Assemblyman Anthony Portantino, thank you very much for joining us.